Forgiveness. It's a word we throw around casually. People tell us just forgive yourself and move on. But if it were that easy, none of us would still be carrying the weight of things we regret, right? Sometimes it's easier to forgive others than to forgive ourselves. Because when it's you, it feels personal, permanent, like proof of your flaws. The truth is, self forgiveness is not a one time movement, it's a journey. If episodes 7 and 8 were about unlearning limiting beliefs and strategies of keeping unlearning them, this one is the natural next step. What do you do once you have dismantled those beliefs but still feel chained by your own guilt? Today, we are going to go deep into that. We will explore the weight of self blame, the truth about mistakes, why forgiving ourselves feels impossible, how compassion becomes the bridge, and finally, how to move forward with freedom. Let's begin. Chapter 1. The Weight of Self Blame. Self blame is heavy. It's like walking around with a backpack full of bricks that nobody else can see. Think about this. How many times a day do you replay a regret in your head? Something you said in anger, something you didn't do, a dream you abandoned. Every time it pops up, you don't just remember it, you re-feel it. That's the weight of self blame. The tricky part is self blame can feel responsible. Like, if I keep punishing myself, I will never forget this mistake. But what actually happens is, instead of protecting yourself from future mistakes, you trap yourself in the past. Now, let me tell you a story. A friend once told me she couldn't forgive herself for ending a relationship badly. For years, she carried the guilt, believing she had ruined someone else's life. But here's what she didn't see: the other person had already moved on, found happiness, built a new chapter. She was the only one still reliving the past, punishing herself for something that was no longer happening. I will be giving you some reflection prompts. First one is, what mistake or regret do you keep carrying, even though life around you has moved forward? Does replaying it make you wiser, or does it just make you tired? If you were to put down that backpack of self blame today, what would it free you to do? The truth is, self blame doesn't make you moral, it makes you stuck. Forgiveness begins when we realize punishment and responsibilities are not the same thing. Chapter 2. The Truth About Mistakes and Humanity. Here's something most of us forget: mistakes are not exceptions to being human, they are proof of it. When you look back at a regret, it's easy to think, I should have known better. But no, you only know better now because you went through it. Think about it like this: if you're teaching a child to walk and they fall, do you call them a failure? Or do you see the fall as part of a process of learning balance? And mistakes are like that fall, necessary steps toward growth. I once knew a man who regretted wasting years in a career he didn't love. He said, I lost so much time. But later, when he finally pursued his passion, those lost years became the foundation of his discipline, work ethic, and perspective. Without them, he wouldn't have succeeded the way he did. Write down a mistake you regret. Now list 3 lessons of skills you gained from it, directly or indirectly. Ask yourself, would I truly have those insights without that mistake? When you forgive yourself, you're not erasing the mistake. You are reframing it as a part of your becoming. Chapter 3, Why Forgiving Yourself Feels Impossible. Let's talk about why self forgiveness feels harder than forgiving others. First, guilt tricks us into believing it keeps us in control. Like, if I keep punishing myself, I can somehow undo what happened, but guilt doesn't rewrite the past, it just robs the present. Second, we confuse forgiveness with permission. We think if I forgive myself, it means I'm okay with what I did. No, forgiveness isn't about approval, it's about acceptance. You are not saying what I did was fine, you are saying I won't let this define the rest of my life. Third, sometimes we tie our forgiveness to others. I will only forgive myself if they forgive me. But the truth is, even if others do, unless you let go, you will remain stuck. Okay, now there is a practical exercise that I'm giving you. Grab a piece of paper, write down the sentence. I release myself from the past. I am a human. I am learning. Read it aloud. Notice how uncomfortable it feels. That discomfort isn't wrong. It's the sign of an old wound beginning to heal. Okay, there was a woman who couldn't forgive herself for dropping out of college. For years, she said, I quit, I failed. But when she finally forgave herself, she went back to study at her own pace. She discovered she wasn't a quitter, she just needed a different path. Chapter 4, The Role of Self Compassion. Here's the bridge: compassion. Without compassion, forgiveness stays intellectual. You know you should forgive yourself, but you don't feel it. Compassion is what brings forgiveness into the heart. Think of it this way: if you were speaking to your younger self, that 10-year-old, scared, trying their best version of you, would you yell at them for messing up, or would you guide them gently? That's the tone self compassion requires. But self compassion doesn't mean ignoring responsibilities, it means holding responsibility with kindness. Saying, yes, I made that choice, yes, I learned from it, and yes, I still deserve love. Here's an exercise. Try this tonight. Write a letter to yourself starting with, Dear, I forgive you for whatever you want to write. Don't worry about grammar or style, just let it flow. See what comes up. Compassion doesn't erase the past, but it changes the way the past lives inside you. Chapter 5, Moving Forward with Freedom. Forgiveness is the doorway, but moving forward is the walk. When you forgive yourself, you don't just release guilt, you create space for growth, joy, and new possibilities. But moving forward means proving your forgiveness through actions. Ask yourself, how can I live differently now? How can I honor the lessons of the past without dragging the guilt of the past? There's some practical exercise that I'm giving you. Make a forward list, like three commitments that represent how you want to live now. They don't have to be huge, they just need to be real. Then remind yourself daily, I'm not defined by my past, I'm defined by how I rise from it. Moving forward doesn't mean pretending nothing happened, it means carrying wisdom instead of weight. So here's what I want you to remember as we close. Forgiving yourself doesn't mean forgetting. It doesn't mean approving. It means reclaiming your life from the grip of guilt. You're not your mistakes. You're not your regrets. You're not the worst thing you have done or the opportunity you missed. You are a human being, learning, growing, becoming. As you step into your day, carry this recognition: I forgive myself, release the past, I choose to move forward. And when you say it, don't just repeat words, believe them. Because the freedom you are looking for isn't out there, It begins within you.